never seen.
Yo, what's up guys? Bill here for Classic Rock and Metal Review. Another day for our 12 videos of Christmas. Another video. I know I didn't get one up yesterday, so I owe you one. So tomorrow I'll get two up there. New episode. This is the other one of the two new episodes that I wanted to get going during these 12 videos of Christmas. And this one, I was there. Going to be sort of, I've been doing concert reviews as I go to them for the past year. This will be, I'm going to start doing some of the concerts that I was actually at, forever ago. I'm going to keep it kind of short and to the point. Maybe not as much of a, set list review, just more about the sort of sights and sounds, any interesting things. And I'm going to start in the beginning and work my way up, so it's going to take me forever to get there. I think I've been to about 170 concerts, but none like, and I say this in all honesty, out of 170 shows, none like my first one. Waysted, Pete Way's Waysted, opened up for Motley Crue, who opened up for Ozzy. January 16th, 1984, Philadelphia Spectrum. I was 13 years old. It's going to be fun digging back into the past for this one. And there actually happens to be a CD of that show. It's only an audience recording, so but at least it gives me the set list, and it was fun listening back to it. There was a couple things that happened during the show that this CD reminded me of. But before we get into all that, if you can like and subscribe, that would be great. Another episode brought to you by Winter with Sal, special ingredient. Oh, that hits the spot. All right, guys, enough of that crap. Let's get into it. So, yeah, man, a little bit of a build-up. This is going to be a little bit of a long video. I can tell already, man. I have some great memories about this show. And, I'm sure if you were at any of the shows on this tour, you have similar memories. Going to be a little different here and there. But some of these a little specific to me. But listen, man, I was like of clear head and mind. I had yet to drink a beer or indulge in anything else. So these memories are, some of them are as clear as the day they happened. When you hear the term life-changing, this was life-changing, okay? I think the first time I dropped the needle down on an album I bought, which was probably 2 years prior, that was a life-changing thing. I was hooked on music right there. And then this concert. Okay, those two things stand out as two of the best things that ever happened to me. So, at the time, we're talking, it's probably like late, it's probably about November of '83, all right? And this kid I sat next to in my homeroom class. Remember homeroom class, that 15 or 20 minute class where all they do is take attendance? So you get to talk to whoever you're sitting next to. And this guy named Stan Skalski, him and me just talked music all the time, a lot of Ozzy and, whatever else. And he actually one day just asked me if I wanted to go see the Ozzy concert coming up. Now, attending a concert had never even dawned on me to even attempt to try to go. I didn't know anyone who had even gone to a concert other than a couple other kids in school who went with older brothers or what have you. So when he asked me, I was kind of like, hell yeah. I still had to ask my parents to let me go. I mean, you got to remember at the time, if there was one person that was sort of a catalyst for controversy, it was Ozzy, man. He was like on the news even when it had nothing to do with music. Now my parents were pretty lenient though, So I kind of asked, and the answer from my mom was, "I'll let you know." And I waited a few more days. I did the old wait till the time is right to ask thing, like as I'm washing dishes or something. And a couple days later, I asked again, and she said yeah, and I was just like, man, here we go. And what's also kind of interesting is, here's a concert that was only going on sale like 2 months before it was happening, which, nowadays it's 2 years. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but it's 7-8 months in some cases. Anyway, so I think the ticket was something like maybe, I feel like it was $12.50. The other thing is, my buddy Stan had a connection at the Ticketron, which is where they had like 6 or 7 outlets throughout the city, you know, certain Strawbridge and Clothiers and what have you. He got us killer seats. So many things about this show I just took for granted, and the killer seats being one of them. This was a dance concert, you know, with basically in like many arenas across the country, the floor, which would be the ice where the hockey team would play or the basketball team would play, was devoid of seats. It was just let everyone in, general admission, and stand wherever you are. So we were the very first section up from the floor, the very closest section to the stage. There were 4 people between us and the stack of speakers on Bob Daisley's side of the stage. So if you're facing the stage, we were on the left. Holy shit. I mean, the view was amazing. Sound was so loud, I couldn't believe what was going on. So let me just get back. So Stan's mom drives us down. Now it's in January, right? It's cold as can be. Drops us off across the street on, I think it was the Veterans Stadium side of the street, and to cross a 6-lane broad street to get over to Patterson Ave, to get to the Spectrum. The party scene in the parking lot was just like everything you ever thought, you know, you had heard it was going to be before a concert. Pandemonium, fireworks, hollering, drinking, all that. We just went right into the venue, but you couldn't help but notice all that going on. The only time I had ever been to the Spectrum, I think, was to see like a Villanova basketball game 3 or 4 years earlier. So I was never really in there. I never saw a Flyers game, Sixers game up to that point. We stopped at the t-shirt stand on the way into the show. Just watched it. I didn't buy anything. I was lucky enough to get the money for this ticket, so I didn't go down there with money for a t-shirt. Just checked it out, soaked it in for a good 5 minutes. Then we went off to our seats, man, and we like, even, you know, I told you where we were sitting. We came in sort of on the back and a little bit towards on the other side, but Waysted was already on. I just remember walking to the seats, and he just let us. Stan let us. My eyes were just glued to that stage. I bought Vices by them in anticipation of the show. I couldn't get into it, man. And I didn't know squat about UFO, but we had made our way to our seats. They were unbelievable. Crowd was booing Waysted after almost every song. Slight applause and booing too, probably a 60-40 split or maybe worse. The place was only about a quarter filled, maybe not even that. And it was just so exciting to see a live band. I'm sure they played stuff off Vices. I couldn't really tell. I didn't really get into having the album, so didn't listen to it much. They did do a couple UFO songs as I look back on later. So that what they played was Toy with the Passion, Love Loaded, Night of the Wolf, Only You Can Rock Me, Sleazy, and Too Hot to Handle. I do remember that after their last song, they got a good applause. So that was it. They got a cheer going off the stage. Lights up. All right, so somewhere between Waysted getting finished and Motley Crue coming on, the place goes from about, like I said, a quarter filled to a good 85-90% filled, maybe even more. I remember seeing a banner hanging off the upper rafters that said Motley Crue rocks Wilkesboro. Wilkesboro, PA is about 2.5 hours from Philadelphia, downtown Philly. That immediately blew my mind. I knew that much from taking trips up to the mountains with the family, how far Wilkesboro was. The fact that people were coming that far to see this concert was kind of an eye-opener right then and there. I never felt a place with such a buzz, such electricity in the air, all those, cliches you hear. I never knew what they meant until now. The slow build towards the band coming out took about half hour, like I said. Finally, lights go out, And like I said, we were so damn close that I'm sure 95% of that place couldn't see crap, except for maybe shadows against the, flickering chrome of the drum stands and cymbal stands. We could actually see the band getting up on stage, no problem. And, it's kind of funny. So they come out to start with In the Beginning, and it's on tape. And this just goes to show you, man, how some things you're just like born with. Immediately, I'm like, what's this tape bullshit? I wasn't in the fake concerts from the first concert I was at. I just remembered being like, that's kind of like cheesy, And I know everyone does it and probably has been doing it forever. That's how it was that night. I just remember feeling like a little duped. That's how they did it in the beginning. And Crue was super hot, okay? I mean, Looks to Kill was all over the radio. If you were listening to Metal Shop, you got stuff like Live Wire, some other songs from Shout at the Devil and what have you. But the only thing on the regular radio was Looks to Kill, but it was a total big hit for months leading up to this. Made Waysted seem like a garage band from down the street, okay? As far as the audience response. It was killer. After Shout at the Devil, they did Take Me to the Top. Knock 'em Dead Kid, which was one of my favorites at the time, still love it. Too Young to Fall in Love, which was killer. Red Hot starts out with that killer drum beat with Tommy Lee. This is back when these guys were awesome, man. Tommy Lee does a drum solo during Red Hot. The entire drum set rises up in the air, and I have to kind of show you. The drums rise up in the air, and then the drum set just protrudes out, hovering over like the first few rows of the audience, and he's upside down. Like the whole set just moved with him. So obviously he's strapped in and all that stuff, and does the drum solo upside down. Oh my God, it was so awesome. Then of course that goes on for 5 minutes, and it brings them back down to the stage. They do Red Hot, the rest of that. Piece of Your Action, Looks to Kill, which got the best response. Like I said, being in Philly, it was all over the radio. Live Wire, which smoked, and then the closer, Helter Skelter. Now, I had Shout at the Devil, and Helter Skelter didn't bother me. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even sure I knew it was a Beatles song. That's how naive I was at the time. But nevertheless, the Beatles aside, I didn't think it was one of the best songs on the album. Didn't like it as a closer. So already a critic, Mind officially blown after just the 50 minutes of them. Total life changer at this point. The Waysted was exciting enough, just seeing a live band, but now seeing Motley Crue, oh man, it was awesome. And I remember turning to Stan and saying, like, that was freaking amazing. And he says, his response is, if you think that's great, wait till you see Ozzy. So I don't like, cause can it get any better? I mean, what's up with this build-up? It can't. It's insane. It's another 30-minute delay. All right. The place that had been 90-some% filled is now filled like 100. Feels like 105%. Like there's no seats left, and there's people in the aisles. And I also have to admit that there were the place was getting so crazy. Screaming and yelling. I'd never seen nothing like it. People standing on their seats. Standing wasn't good enough. You'd stand on your seat. I just remember the ushers being like these 40 and 50 and 60-year-old women and men, and thinking, this place, the fans at this concert can easily overtake the handful of workers. I mean, and it seemed legitimately possible that it was going to happen to my, gullible mind. I mean, I wasn't actually worried about it happening, but the thought crossed my mind, like, if these people wanted to take this venue over, they could, no problem. Anyway, the lights finally go down. It's that awesome stage of Ozzy's, right, with that big spiral staircase, those big wooden banisters, the drum set's right at the top at the center. It's Carmine Appice on drums, Don Airey on keys. You got Daisley right in front of our faces, practically. Ozzy in the middle, of course. Jake off to the other side of the stage on the right. before any music even starts, all right? Place is yelling, lighters are all going and all. You hear Ozzy howling, like, ow! And the whole crowd's yelling back, like howling back. Does it 2 or 3 times, and then they kick in the I don't know. Just amazing, man. Ozzy's up the top of the steps. He's not like, so he starts out in between Carmine and Don. And Don's also on our side of the stage too. We got a pretty good view of him. He comes out from between the two of them and is like descending the stairs during I don't know. I'll never forget this. A gigantic roll of toilet paper goes flying through the crowd, hits the stage, bounces up a couple steps. And I just remember Ozzy just looking down at it and just stepping around it like it was nothing compared to the shit he's seen, you know. So on to Mr. Crowley, Rock and Roll Rebel, Bark at the Moon. Another highlight for me was at the very, very end of Bark at the Moon, where he does the howl. The whole spectrum, I mean, it must have been at least 70% of the spectrum, just all does the howl together. Like hearing 10,000 people howl, just awesome. Like it's a venue that holds about 13 something sold out, so 13,000 some people. After Bark at the Moon, Revelation and Steal Away the Night. Always bored by those 2 songs, honestly. They're okay, but you know, do they have to be in every show? Suicide Solution, gotta love that one. Jake gets to do a solo. They go in the Center of Eternity off Bark at the Moon, which I thought at the time I thought it was the 3rd best song on Bark at the Moon besides the 2 they already played. I kind of think that's not really the case anymore. It was definitely the heaviest, and that's probably what I was into at the time. Then Carmine Appice does a drum solo, and I remember it being really cool. Had I not heard the CD, I would have forgot how much of a showman he was with all this. But I do remember him like standing up doing this solo, doing like this call and response thing with the audience. I didn't realize it went on as long as it goes. It's a good, I don't know, if I had to guess, like 6 or 8 minutes. And I'm, you know, I don't know this for a fact. It's my opinion that I don't think Ozzy was probably too into a drummer that was like basically taking over the crowd, even if it's only for 5 or 6 or 8 minutes long. I don't know, but he's an awesome drummer. You know, it sounded great at the show. Carmine's solo, then Flying High Again, Iron Man, Crazy Train, and Paranoid Surrender. The concert ended, and it was just like amazing. Stan and I, we literally had to walk up to each other's ears and scream into them to hear each other. I mean, even trying to say anything to each other, like where's your mom going to be parked or anything, you wouldn't believe, like you had to scream as loud as you could directly in his ear for him to hear me. Nuts, fantastic, incredible. That's pretty much it, guys. Hope I gave you some sights and sounds. Obviously, there was pot being smoked everywhere. I'd never seen nothing like it. It was like a nut zone, man. But it was awesome. Life changer, game changer. I having problems finding. I was trying to track this down online just to, you know, let you know where you can get it if you want it. It's an audience recording. I wouldn't go out of my way, but it's really cool having it, you know, since I was there. And it did help me relive a couple of moments. There's also a moment during the show where Ozzy has to tell the crowd to chill out. I think they were like throwing shit up on stage and too close to Jake, or maybe he got hit with something. I couldn't even tell. He was on the other side of the stage. I do remember Ozzy having to stop the show to make that announcement. That's it, man. Ozzy, Crue, and Waysted. I was there. If you guys can like or subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And I hope everyone's having a good holiday. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Cheers. Couple videos coming at you tomorrow. Sabbath, best of 71 rarities. And another 5 killer EPs you need to have. All right, guys, that'll do it for now. I'll catch your asses later.